Okay, Year 8, we are doing 13.7 two-way tables today. You need to write the heading, and if you could write this, a two-way table lists all the possible outcomes, which we already know possible outcomes is the same thing as saying sample space. Now, I think you actually could write this definition, or this example. Show the sample space for tossing a coin twice using a two-way table. So it's a coin, so we write that here. Across the top of the table, we write the outcomes you can have. So when you toss a coin, you could get a head or a tail. And on the second toss, you could also get a head or a tail. So you draw up this table, and in here we're going to write these two things that combine to make that square. So this would mean getting a head and a head. This would mean getting a head and a tail. This one is going to be a tail and then a head, and this one is going to be a tail and a tail. Now, why do we bother doing that? What can we find out? How many total possible outcomes are there? Okay, I'm going to stop the video. Who can tell me the answer? Okay, hopefully someone said 4. It's just how many squares there are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I was going to write 3. How many favourable outcomes are there for throwing 2 heads? So we're going to go back up here. Oh, look, there's 2 heads. So there's 1. Is that 2 heads? No. 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 So there's only 1 chance of getting 2 heads. And then we need to write that as a probability. What is the probability of this happening? Or what is the probability of throwing 2 heads? Now we know the probability must be a fraction, okay, because remember we've done this, the number of favourable outcomes, which was what we think could possibly happen, which is 1, divided by the possible outcomes, and altogether there are 4 possible outcomes. All right, let's do one more. Oh, just need to move my camera. All right, so what about if we tossed, you don't need to draw this one, a coin this way, but then we tossed a die. So down here, we're going to have to write the possible outcomes when we toss a die. And this we probably know to death by now. So up here, we're going to write coin. And down here, we're going to write die. And hopefully you're thinking about what we're going to fill it out. So down here, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because they're the possibilities when we throw a die. And then we're going to match them up here. So we can have a 1 and a head, or we can have a 1 and a tail. We can have a 2 and a head, a 2 and a tail, a 3 and a head, a 3 and a tail, 4 and a head, etc. Okay, and I'm going to just show you so that you know with this black pen, making it look a little bit ugly. Here is our possible outcomes, okay, in that group. So now the question is, find the probability of obtaining a heads and an even number. So we've got probability of heads and even. Let's do the bottom first. The bottom's the easy bit. It's how many there are all together. So how many are there all together? Okay, hopefully someone said 12. So that's going to be out of 12. And we're looking for heads and an even number. Do we even bother looking down here? No, because they're all tails. So we're trying to find a head and an even number. Is that even? No. Well, there's 1, 2 and a head, a 4 and a head, and a 6 and a head. So how many possible outcomes are there with a head and an even number? There are 3. So our fraction is going to be 3 over 12. And of course we don't leave it like that. We need to reduce it. So we can say 3 goes into both of those. 3 into 3 goes 1. 3 into 12 goes 4 times. So your answer is 1 out of 4. All right, so don't forget to stay in the class because you may need some help along the way. Let's just read this and make sure you understand. So 1A, do part 2, because this is a exercise for tree diagrams and two-way tables. I just want you to do the two-way tables. So 1A, part 2, which is the table. 1B, all of them. Question 5, just the two-way table. So ignore the thing that says the tree. Question 6, part 2, which is the table. Question 6B, all of it. And question 7. Excellent. Thanks, guys.